Unfortunately, the image of St. Gerald does not survive. But the Auvergne, a region made dramatically beautiful by the presence of massive extinct volcanoes, was perfect for fostering the growth of isolated monastic communities. There, the tradition of creating image reliquaries was already strong by the year 1000. I show you Puy-de-Dôme on the left and Saint-Nectaire on the screen. Saint-Nectaire is famous not only for its cheese, which some of you may well know, but for its reliquary image of Saint Boehm. The saint extends his right hand in blessing, while in his left he clasps the broken tip of an unidentified object between his thumb and index finger. His beard and mustache are suggested by a regular pattern of stippling, while his cap-like hair ends in curls that ring his forehead. The gilded metal is worked to suggest a chasuble, the vestment worn by priests during the celebration of the Mass. Once studded with gems, most are now lost. Most striking is the powerful, even hypnotizing effect of the eyes, which are made of inlaid horn and ivory, and the animation of the figure that the sculptor has imparted by showing the saint's outsized right hand gesturing in blessing. The angle of the arm and the ring and pinky finger not quite yet tucked in suggest that the saint at this very moment is starting to bless us. In this 12th century image from central France, the goldsmith has adopted many of the fundamental aspects that Elisa identified earlier this morning as common to African reliquary sculpture: distillation of imagery to essential forms, the harnessing of color in the missing gems, and light in the reflective metal, the emphasis on balance and symmetry, the appropriation of precious secondary materials. These were the gems again, which in fact were appropriated around the year 1906 by thieves, and the development of dynamically alternating surfaces that engage the eye in the checkerboard pattern of his chasuble and the ring patterns at along the arms, simulating fabric, and the cascading drapery. But might not the observations of Bernard of Angers about the statue of St. Gerald have applied equally well to the Fang man holding a horn? James Fernandez asked a leader of the Fang people of Gabon to describe what this and similar sculptures are about. The reply was as follows: "Their faces are strong, quiet, and reflective. They are thinking about our problems and how to help us." What is it about the carving of this magical figure that conveys such deep concern? Is he pensive because of the large, high forehead? Is he so evidently listening to us because his large eyes are illuminated by discs of copper? Do his broadly defined features convince us that somehow we know him? What of the Bangwa royal commemorative portrait of Chief Fosia? He appears to be an equally commanding potential advocate, with his large forehead, big eyes, pent-up energy, and objects in his grasp that suggest power and authority, as surely as Saint Boehm's hand raised in blessing. Like the reliquary of Saint Boehm from the treasury at Saint-Nectaire, works like the image of Chief Fosia were guarded within a protective, secure area. They evoke the memory of a previous chief, just as the reliquary evokes the memory of a previous abbot or other local holy figure. In French medieval examples, the skulls of the individual, or failing that, other important relics, were kept within the object. Bernard of Angers tells us this explicitly when discussing the reliquary image of Sainte Foy still preserved at Conques. And I quote, "For in fact there is an established usage, an ancient custom in the whole country of Auvergne, the Rouergue, and the Toulousain, as well as in the surrounding areas, that people erect a statue for their own saint of gold or silver or some other metal, in which the head of the saint, or a rather important part of the body, is reverently preserved." And later he adds, "It is a repository of holy relics, fashioned into a specific form only because the artist wished it. It is made of the finest gold and becomingly adorned with gems, delicately and carefully inserted on portions of the garment, as the judgment of the craftsman thought best." Processions of the reliquary image of Sainte Foy were heralded by ivory trumpets, so that sound as well as sight became integral to the experience of the faithful in the presence of the saint's relic. With its deep, penetrating resonance, the horn proclaimed the unequivocal authority of the saint. Listen to Bernard of Angers' description again. Quote, "The monks announce that there will be a solemn procession of clergy and laity, who move forward with great formality, carrying candles and lamps. A processional cross goes in front of the holy relics, embellished all around with enamels and gold and studded with a variety of gems flashing like stars. The novices serve by carrying a gospel book, holy water, clashing cymbals, and even trumpets made of ivory that were donated by noble pilgrims. Sound as well as sight are integral to the experience." Similarly, in Bangwa image reliquaries, the sounding of a carved ivory horn invoked the presence of the ancestor. The effect of the image of Sainte Foy on the faithful was so powerful that people believed the image had appeared to them in dreams and told them what to do. Prayers to the saint were believed to help cure the sick. Monks carried the saint with them in their retinue to reassert claim over lands or to attend church synods. But what aesthetic choices led to the perception of beneficence, and what defines malevolence? Because many of those same aesthetic qualities that we see in African sculpture and in medieval Christian reliquary sculpture, the stylized broad facial planes, the large shining eyes, glowing material of the kind and gentle Saint Irie, seen on your right, likewise infuse the haunting jack-o'-lantern image. And truth be told, a majority of the aesthetic qualities that we have identified as key in African and Christian reliquary sculpture, notably distillation of imagery to essential forms, harnessing of color and light, emphasis on balance and symmetry, just as surely define the malevolent face of Darth Vader. We might say that Cheney's smile is crooked or his eyes are squinted, and that tells us he's not perceived by the artist to be entirely benign. But fundamentally, the formal choices adopted by the artists who created African reliquary sculpture and medieval reliquary sculpture convey not so much goodness as the raw power of authority reduced to its essence. And power, as we all know, can be used for good or for evil. Even the sweet, martyred Virgin Sainte Foy was believed to threaten or punish those who did not obey her. Bernard of Angers tells us one tale of her appearance in dreams to a miscreant named Gerbert who tried to steal gold from the saint. Again, I quote from his account. She rather severely demanded the gold Gerbert had hidden away. Then she seemed to leave as if she were angry. On the next night, she seemed to appear again in the same terrifying way and to leave as threateningly as before. This time, Gerbert made her a solemn promise that he would return the gold the next day. When he nonetheless persisted in his hard-headed stubbornness, the same vision, but far more terrifying, came to threaten the naysayer on the third night. She said, "Tell me, you worst of criminals, why haven't you returned my gold to me when I've demanded it back so many times?" Together with this verbal reproof, she thrust towards his sore eye a hazel wand that she seemed to carry in her right hand as if she were about to strike him. Gerbert turned his head away in another direction as if to avoid a very swift blow, and in a higher voice than he was usually able to speak, he cried out, asking for mercy over and over. You have to know the context to know whether the intent is for good or for evil. And if the viewer's perception changes, so may the response. Listen to what Bernard of Angers says about the face of Sainte Foy elsewhere in the same account. As for the face, being the summation and the peak of life, it expresses the charity that it finds its emblem in the candor of the face. Do you see charity and candor? I love this piece, but I can't read that in this golden visage.